I hit the lobby at 9:47 p.m., birthday number 38, greeted by industrial carpet cleaner and Mrs. Henderson's chihuahua, announcing my arrival like I owed it money. The laptop bag dug into my shoulder. 14 hours at the office. 14 hours of telling myself someone, anyone, would remember. No one did. I'd checked my phone all day like a teenager waiting on a crush. Nothing from my parents, nothing from my siblings, not even a lazy HBD from my wife, Clara. I let myself believe she was planning something, that I'd walk into candles and a cake that didn't come from a grocery case. Magical thinking dies hard. My apartment was silent. On the coffee table, a small chocolate cake with Happy Birthday Marcus in blue frosting, written by a kid who looked sorrier for me than my whole family ever had. One candle, unlit. I whispered Happy Birthday into the quiet and felt the words get absorbed by the furniture. Then I opened Facebook. My brother Darren's promotion party was trending. Professional photos, champagne, everyone glowing. The time stamp. Today. My birthday today. Mom in her good jewelry, Dad with his arm around Darren like he'd just delivered the heir to a throne. 30 relatives, the comments gushing. In the middle of it, Clara's 3 heart emojis and such. An inspiration. Inspiration. My brother inspired my wife. I couldn't inspire a 2-second text. I closed the app and stared at the candle. I didn't light it. Wishes felt like begging. 4 days later, the universe handed me Exhibit B, a family group chat I wasn't supposed to see. Mom fat-fingered the invite and added me by accident. The first message was from Dad. Marcus should give at least $25,000 for Darren and Leia's anniversary party. Mom followed like a CFO of morality. He just got that bonus. Time for him to support the family properly. Clara, my wife, hit the thread with a thumbs-up emoji. She knew I could see it. That emoji was a rubber stamp on my transformation, from person to wallet. I worked 3 months to save the Henderson account. 16-hour days, weekends, the whole corporate zombie routine. When my boss, Raymond, handed me that bonus envelope, $94,000, he didn't make a speech about obligation. He said, "You saved the quarter. You made this company better." At work, I was valuable. At home, I was a line item. I told my friend, Jordan. He listened, then said the simplest thing anyone had said to me all year. Take the money and do one thing for yourself. Saturday came. Family dinner at my parents' house. A colonial they call a mansion, with a straight face. Clara stared out the passenger window the whole drive. Stone-cold, "I'm fine," which is code for absolutely not fine. Inside, Mom greeted me like a game show host. Darren and his wife were perfectly posed in the living room, all curated. Humility. Dad paraded out an expensive bottle like a prop. During dessert, the ambush arrived. Dad cleared his throat. "We want to celebrate Darren and Leia's first anniversary properly. Country Club, 150 guests." He recited a number like he was announcing the weather. 25,000. You can manage it. You just got that big bonus. Silence fell. Everyone looked at me like I was supposed to read my line. "I can't," I said. Mom gasped. Clara flushed. Darren blinked. Dad went red. "You're selfish," he said. "You've always been jealous of your brother." There it was, a lifetime of being the reliable one distilled into selfish for saying no once. I stood up, heart pounding, and walked out. The guilt assault started before I got home. Mom left tearful voicemails about how I'd broken the family spirit. Dad showed up at my office, ranting about the family name, until security walked him out. Darren texted, "Mom's crying because of you. Fix this." Clara mastered weaponized silence. At work, though, people actually smiled when they saw me. Raymond introduced me in meetings as the guy who saved the quarter. Colleagues asked for my input. Jordan stopped by my office, sat and said, "You still thinking about doing something for yourself?" That afternoon, avoiding Clara's subtle notes about Darren's gift registry, I clicked a real estate link like a man poking at a fantasy. Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. I'd never been. The listing photo grabbed me by the collar. 4 bedrooms, a wall of windows over blue water, a cedar deck stretching toward a private dock. Asking $410K. I clicked through the photos, the kitchen, the stone fireplace, the balcony off the master, and saw a life that had room for me. I called the broker just to ask. 2 days later, I drove out, and when the October air hit my face on that deck, the noise in my head finally quieted. "I'll take it," I told Linda, the agent. "Don't you want to run it by your wife? Get an inspection?" "I've been running it by people my whole life," I said. "I'll take it." 2 weeks later, I signed the papers. My neighbor, Mrs. Alvarez, who has shown me more kindness over the years than most Hales combined, came for moral support. "You've built a life for everyone else," she said. "Now build one for yourself." The first morning there, I stood, with coffee on my deck, watching the lake turn to melted gold. In my own kitchen, in my own quiet, I felt something I'd misfiled as impossible. Peace. I hung my work awards in the hallway, framed, lit, unapologetic. Clara had always said they were too much for a living room. Not in this house. This was my museum of proof. I exist, I do good work, and it matters. I threw a small housewarming, not for networking, not out of obligation, for joy. Jordan came with a grin and a bottle. Sarah from accounting brought brownies and took 100. Photos of the sunset. Raymond arrived late with champagne and a compliment. This is what successful people do, invest in their own happiness. Mrs. Alvarez gifted me a quilt in lake colors. It fit like it had been waiting for these walls. At sunset, I took a selfie on the deck, glass raised, water blazing behind me. Caption, "Birthday gift to myself." Post. My phone detonated. The missed calls stacked. Dad's booming outrage, Mom's operatic sobs, Clara's "we need to talk now," cousins from the woodwork diagnosing me with a financial breakdown because I bought property with my own money. The family scheduled an emergency dinner to stage an intervention. I came armed with evidence, albums and printouts, birthday parties, graduations, Christmas mornings, Darren's celebrations, catered, photographed, centerpieces with budgets, mine, grocery store cake and whoever remembered, vacations I couldn't make because, conveniently, someone needed to house sit, my wedding, where Dad devoted his toast to Darren's bright future, Olive Garden graduation dinner, him with a 3-minute ovation for landing an unpaid internship while my diploma sweated under a napkin. I laid it all out on their dining table like a closing argument. "You favored Darren, you erased me, and you've used me," I said, steady. "I don't need your approval to live my life." I left the albums behind and walked out. After that, silence. Not the cruel birthday kind. This one was relief. At the lake house, life reassembled itself. I slept, I cooked, I stopped answering texts that were invoices dressed as family. On weekends, Jordan and I grilled on the deck, and I learned how quiet has a sound. Wind in the pines, a boat far off, my shoulders finally dropping from around my ears. Clara didn't come with me. The first week I moved in, she sent me one message. "So this is really happening?" I said yes. She replied, with a period. The full stop of our marriage wasn't loud. It was a pinprick leak we'd been ignoring for years, finally draining out. At work, something wild happened. I got promoted. Director of Client Strategy. My boss's boss said, "We want more of whatever you did with Henderson." Turns out, when you stop pouring energy into defending your boundaries, you get some back to build things. 1 year later, my 39th birthday, I stood on my deck and saw my life reflected back without apology. The house hummed with voices that liked me with no invoices attached. Jordan ran the grill like a backyard general. Sarah marshaled a cutthroat Scrabble tournament. Raymond told a story about a client meltdown that had us crying with laughter. Mrs. Alvarez wrapped the quilt around my shoulders at sunset and said, "You look 10 years younger in this light." We toasted. Jordan raised his glass. To Marcus, the man who finally chose himself. The words echoed off the water. Around 8, my brother Darren pulled into the driveway. No grand entrance, no entourage, just a man carrying a frame. Inside, a photo of me at 12, laughing on a dock, a fish on my line, sun in my eyes. "Found it in Dad's box," he said, voice smaller than I'd ever heard it. He stared out at the lake. "I didn't get it. Any of it. I'm sorry, Marcus." We stood there in the quiet. For the first time, he didn't shine at me. He simply stood next to me. Maybe that was all I needed from him. An hour later, Clara arrived with a bakery box. Inside, a single carrot cake cupcake with 1 candle. My favorite. "Happy birthday," she said. There was sincerity in it. Maybe regret. Maybe a habit she couldn't break. Maybe love, tired and late to its own party. We talked on the deck. Not about us, exactly. About work. About her book club. How the city feels farther away when you're over water. She looked at the house like it might tell her a secret I'd kept. "It suits you," she said. "You seem lighter." "I am," I said. She put the box down. "I didn't protect you."